Hi, this is Father Louis Scurti once again with Dr. Joseph Cucci. Now, Dr. Cucci was going to wear a white undershirt today, so he'd look more like a priest than I do. I came in just black and basis because I had an adjustment before this session, so that's why I'm peppy and aligned. I'm interested in knowing, I hope you are too, because I'm going to ask these questions on your behalf. I'm interested in knowing who were the influential people in Dr. Cucci's life besides the educators in class. And then I want to get into more about bones. But let's go with who were the influential people, because you mentioned someone before whose pictures in your lobby.
Well, so I mentioned before, chiropractic has changed over the years. It was once a very pure, clear practice. It had 33 principles, and the only purpose was to correct subluxation. Now,
Which is the out of alignment.
Okay. With the purpose of taking pressure off the nerves.
Right.
Medicine, in order to be accepted by medicine, we've had to get more medically oriented in our colleges. So our colleges have, I don't want to say diluted chiropractic, but it's so much more medicine in our, we do phlebotomy, we're pulling blood, we're checking, we're doing all kinds of oral exams and rectal exams, and we're learning all this other stuff that we'll never use in practice, but in order to get the degree of primary care physician, we've had to go through this. But we've lost our philosophy, so I've had to find people to bring me back. That person who was born in 1911, Pasquale Sarasoli, was from that era of true chiropractic. Another one would be Sid Williams, which is an amazing chiropractor who had the largest chiropractic college in the world. My niece is there now, Life College.
Really?
They named it Life for a reason because it brings life into the world,
Yes.
right?
And where is that located?
That's in Marietta, Georgia. Another great college is Sherman College in the Carolinas. But those are the great colleges. I went to a great college, but it was a great science college. Those two colleges I named were great philosophy colleges.
Okay.
So the people that were most influential were Pasquale Sarasoli, Sid Williams, and then there's a myriad of other people that are kind of with them, right? These are the big groups. Also, Jim Dubell, who runs a group in New Jersey called New Beginnings Chiropractic. So there's all the, and then from these groups, you kind of buddy up. You find a friend, and you find other Italian guys, or whatever, whatever nationality or religion, and we all join together as brothers of. There's even a group called Band of Brothers, right? From Dynamic Essentials, one of the Sid Williams groups that he would lecture at. So there,
you meet on a regular basis?
You meet quarterly, right?
Okay.
Convention style.
Okay.
But I also, we meet, there's New York Chiropractic Council that I was a member of, and still am a member of, was once the president for the Manhattan District, and I mentioned I was their philosophy chairman. But so in these groups, you'll find like-minded chiropractors that we share the philosophy of the true philosophy. I shouldn't say the old philosophy. It is the philosophy that has been somewhat taken away from its center as we try to get more accepted by medicine.
And the status right now of chiropractic in the United States?
Well, you can't. It goes state by state.
Oh, okay.
In New York, we are primary care physicians. Most people don't know
that. You said that before. Primary. Yeah, I'm surprised at that.
Yeah,
I didn't
if
know.
you look it up.
You're not a specialist. You're primary care.
Right. And in addition to that, we're primary care, but we're not allowed to treat or disease, right? We're only allowed to treat this one thing called subluxation, which I think is a great law. Some chiropractors want to change it because they want to have their physical therapists, but in order to have a relationship with a physical therapist, they have to have a medical doctor in the middle of it, and they want to take away the subluxation so that way they can have a wider practice without having to pull medical doctors in to have a legitimate business.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
and it's different in Jersey and
it's different all over, but it's very much the same in that chiropractors are coming out much more medically oriented, much more pain oriented, because that's an easy sell. 80% of Americans have low back pain, and they think of chiropractic was one of the things.
Right.
It's hard to sell something they've never heard of. Subluxation. I don't think I have a problem with that.
Right. It's funny, in your lobby you have little pamphlets. Pain is one of them. Pregnancy is another. Spinal issues another, and there are a few others.
Yeah.
But all of it has to do with the bones.
It all has Ezekiel, the Valley of the Bones.
You said that the first day we met.
The
I want you to
spirit.
tell you what.
Well, you tell me the story of Ezekiel. What did he find in the Valley of the Bones?
Well, he had a vision, and now I'm going to be embarrassed if I make a mistake. So forgive me if I do. He had a vision that God's will come back. People will understand God's will. It's all in reference to the captivity and the persecutions. And what he had a vision of, he saw a valley of bones. And as the faith of his faith and the faith of the people who were there became more intense, they grew flesh and blood, and they became people. Okay.
So the spirit was in the bones, right?
Yes, yes. God's spirit.
And
This was.
and then you have the rib, right? So we're often talking about bones in the Bible.
So the valley of bones. All
To
of these
me-
bones came back to real people.
To me, what that means is the spirit's in the bones.
Absolutely.
Life is in the bones. Bones make the white blood cells that make your immune system. And when we call it, Pasquale would call it breaking the sound barrier, right? When we're adjusting, we're
Right.
opening up that spirit. We're opening up those bones to vibrate differently. The tonicity, all of chiropractic is based on tone. Tone of the nervous system, and every part of your body is vibrating right now, believe it or not. Every cell in your body is vibrating right now. And at what tone or frequency are you vibrating at is all an internal order. So as we're adjusting, we're trying to balance the tone that your body, actually, we're not trying to balance. We're trying to release the tone so that way your body can balance itself into its highest tonal level.
I also, as you know, I do yoga. I started like 7 years ago, and every time I go to a different yoga studio, and there's only a few I go to because of location and geography.
And Italian last names.
Italian, no, none of that.
No.
Sorry. But humming is part of it. I mean, there are many techniques, and that sending the tones to your body, like it is calming, and it goes through your whole, in the right spirit. And people say, "Oh, a priest goes yoga." Yes, because it's good body care,
Yeah,
and spirit care. I mean, it puts us one at peace. Now, so much of what we do here in this room, you're putting at peace with me. I mean, calming me down
And yoga and chiropractic, the inventor was D.D. Palmer of chiropractic. His son was B.J. Palmer, and he's sort of the developer. Everybody knows who he is because he was more prolific in the profession after his father passed. And he often says the best combination is chiropractic and yoga.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
He did say that. Everybody thinks, I need a massage before I go. No, actually, it puts too much information into the body. You don't want to give your body information. You want your body's information to be revealing itself. So let's talk about this outside in and inside out healing. So yoga and chiropractic both recognize that there's a healing that happens from within and life is expressed outward. In chiropractic, we say it comes from above, down, inside, and out. Now, what's different is this whole thing about hot yoga or medicine, that is taking it outside in, expecting an outside component to do something on the inside of your body. So you're going to take, when medicine's done correctly, it's a miracle. I'm not talking against it.
Yeah.
But it is a different method. It's an outside in. So you're going to take a piece and you're going to give them a shot and it's going to go from the outside in. You're going to take 100-degree heat and put it into their body to get a deeper stretch. Actually, Bikram is not yoga. Bikram is not of the philosophy of yoga. And I'm just really upset a lot of people. I'm sorry. If you love Bikram, I love Bikram for you. And I'm not against Bikram.
Yeah.
But the point is that the idea of yoga is that you're supposed to be expressing outward, and it's not supposed to be an outside-in experience. It's supposed to be an inside-out.
There are different colors associated with different parts of the body in yoga. And the light...
The white light.
It's on top.
Yes.
And you often see the image of the Buddha with his hair in a point. And of course, we as Catholics, we remember the descent of the Holy Spirit on Pentecost. What was that? We see flames of light over each of the apostles. There's so much of it that's related, and as a Catholic, I believe God started it all, and through many generations, different sciences took pieces. And when Christianity came along, we sort of brought it together. I mean, so much of this, hands-on and yoga, is in the scriptures. They don't call it that, but Jesus certainly touched. Anybody he healed, he touched. It was wonderful. The people that were the shkivus, or the lepers, he touched. And even spit he used on their eyes to heal them, to let them see. So appreciation of the body and natural science is so close, and it's not pagan, it's Jesus,
I think that when we get there, we're going to see that science and religion mirrors each other.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah,
I just don't
yeah.
think that science is far enough along and religion hasn't explained it in a way that scientists will digest it. But in the first, what is in the first sentence of Genesis? I'm going to challenge you a little bit. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Is that what it says?
Yes, in the beginning. God
Because
created.
in the beginning, there's a time, there's a space, right? And there's a physical, right? So
Yeah.
so he took the three elements of life, right? And in that first sentence, I mean, when you really decode the Bible, you're going to find out so much.
Absolutely.
That so much is there that in every sentence, it's fascinating. In the first sentence, they talk about time, space, and matter. What else is there, right?
Right.
So I think it's really fascinating, and there's so much more to talk about this.
And
Actually,
you talked about the rib. Go back to the rib.
well, again, just saying that we are made from, that's how he made Eve, and that the spirit had to derive from. In the beginning, it was breath, which is breath.
Spirit.
Of course, we know means spirit, right? Is that right?
And yes, and in the spirit of God hovered over the earth. The word in the Hebrew is ruah, ruah. It looks like ruah, and that's the same spirit that filled Adam, the mud. Same spirit that came upon the apostles when the church was born, Pentecost. So God's spirit has been with us, and we have been trying to absorb it as people since Christianity began, and that's what you talk about.
And I believe it lives in all of our bodies.
Yeah.
And the only purpose of chiropractic is to assist people into the evolution of bringing that spirit into the center of their lives, into the center heart of Jesus.
Without selling a product, and that's what we don't do that here. We're aiming to share with you, our audience, a few things. One is how a doctor of chiropractic can incorporate his faith as a Christian, and there are other religious groups who are chiropractors as well, but how I was fascinated with the fact that Joseph Cucci can incorporate his faith as a Christian into his job, his craft, which is something I think all of us have to, not only the priest, all of us have to do. I mean, I think of Giotto, the great artist in the Middle Ages, early Renaissance. He would pray before he painted, and he would go into a careful, meditative state before he painted these magnificent paintings of the stories of Christ. And that's not unusual. He's not the only one. Many artists do it. Many people do it. The football players, and I don't know much about football or anything like that, they prayed before the game. They prayed before after. Why? The Spirit of God is within them, and it's up to us to bring that Spirit, as you're doing in chiropractic, into the world. Whether you're playing, praying, healing, it's our job as people. And I like your healing hands. They have worked.
Thank you so much.
Now tell me, have you given your kids anything from your hands to appreciate what they have in the Father?
So all my children have been adjusted since birth. But the thing is, and I've adjusted many children from birth. I've gone, many parents have brought me their children, and I've adjusted.
Tell me, why would they need adjustment?
So again, you cannot see a subluxation with your eyes.
Right.
Okay.
Oh,
a child has to be assessed. With a newborn, it's an interesting assessment. You can see their feet, you can see their hips, but actually, and it's going to sound strange, if you bring them upside down and their head turns one way naturally, that means that there's tension on one side and not on the other. So that's kind of an indicator of a subluxation. So why does a child need a child is probably the most important person to get adjusted, because you want to set it straight from the beginning. And I'll just give one little piece of, I think I invented this. They say scoliosis is idiopathic. What scoliosis is people that walk around with spines like this but no pain, curvature like that.
Right.
And ultimately, I believe that in the youth, you're set to sit in these chairs for periods of time, and you have no core strength. And if you're sitting in a chair for 3 hours like this, and mommy's making dinner, and nobody has any malintent, this isn't to be evil, but I think that sitting in these chairs without any core is really affecting. And everybody's in chairs. Everybody's in chairs. In the old days, they didn't put kids in chairs. They crawled around, they messed around. You know, they didn't strap in. Until 100 years ago. Until then, they didn't have a strap. The kid was crawling around. So I think my theory is, and this is totally a theory, right now they say it's idiopathic, we're idiots, we don't know where it comes from. But I believe that scoliosis comes from children being in a seated position under the age of 2 that are slouching like this for hours at a time, driving to a long period of time in the car. You know, and the solution is to either tilt them back or to put the bassinet down, have a bassinet for them. And that's the solution, really. You can't have them sitting for so long. I don't know if I went off topic on that one, but I just wanted to give the audience something about children.
About your field. Nothing's off topic.
And children, it's the most important to adjust them because they're the easiest to fix. You've had a subluxation for a decade or 2, or 3 or 4, right? There's muscle memory.
Right.
And you got the strong Italian muscle, right? And so to move you is like moving a rock, but to move a child adjustment, just so people know, that's a child adjustment. It's that strong.
Yeah.
So it can be done on.
It doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't hurt. And kids love it. Kids and animals love it. It's the educated mind that goes, oh, I don't know.
And why are they introducing mindfulness and yoga in grammar schools?
It's wonderful.
Same thing. Same reason.
Wonderful.
I happened to come upon you because you were in close proximity to the church I help out at, St. John Nepomucene on First Ave. And
12 o'clock on Saturdays. On
yeah.
He pitched. Oh, we're not selling anything, but okay, it's 12 o'clock on Sunday.
And sometimes in Roosevelt Island, but a community church. But that's another story. But and it was such a great, I don't want to say fine, discovery. You were here and I discovered you. And I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the medical establishment that sent me here.
Thank you so much, Father. Thank you for having me. I love you.
This has been Father Louis SCURTI with Joseph Cucci, Dr. Joseph Cucci. And of course, his wife is slaving away in the front office, and she didn't want to come in to get a picture taken, but maybe we'll show some family pictures later. Thank you for joining me, and pass this on to your family and friends. And I'd like to hear from you, Father Louis SCURTI at hotmail.com. God bless you.
Thank you.